Hi there, this is Jonny Miller from Point Blank Online Music School. Back once more to show you some cool stuff with Ableton Live 8 and sound samples and loops from clickproduce.com. Sun's out in London today and I'm feeling kind of summery. I've put together a little beat using Loopmaster's Afro Parade, put together by Delata. And yeah, I've just got a summery little beat here. Definitely on a house tip. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some samples from another sample pack actually, by a company called Wide Range Electric, called Vocal Attack Astrid Edition. And this is a really cool set of samples and vocal lines sung by a vocalist called Astrid Demtroda, who has a very kind of smoky voice, perfect for kind of soulful, kind of jazzy dance music. And we've got a whole stack of stuff here to work from. Different folders containing all sorts of different vocal lines.
I can stay. That's the last time I let you go.
I mean, everything you could possibly dream of is in here. All different vocal samples in different languages, spoken word, the lot. I'm going to choose, I've chosen a vocal actually from in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this vocal into my track. But instead of using just using the vocal as it comes, you know me, I'm going to flip it somehow. And I'm actually going to use Impulse, which is traditionally used for drum samples in Ableton Live. I'm going to use Impulse to cut up and replay little snatches, little cuts and edits of this vocal. So first things first, I'm going to pull it into Arrange View. So I'm not going into Session View, I'm going straight into Arrange View now. And just for a moment, I need to get this vocal kind of working a little bit in time with the beat. So I'm going to put the metronome on, and I've soloed the vocal track. And I'm just going to start using warp markers inside this audio clip to just move the position of the vocals around until it starts to snap a little bit better.
Like the rhythm.
Because at the moment, it's not really quite fitting.
Like the rhythm of your
So I'm just going to move a few things around.
Like the rhythm of your drums. Like the rhythm.
And it's starting now, as you can see, I'm
like the rhythm
pulling things around.
Like the rhythm of your drums.
It's starting to fit.
Like the rhythm of your drums. Like the rhythm
with the tempo much better. And that's one of the great things about live, the ability to manipulate audio over time, to stretch little bits, squash little bits until any audio clip that we throw in there kind of works in perfect time with beats. So let's just put the beat on now.
Like the rhythm of your drum.
It kind of fits nicely.
Like the rhythm of your drum.
But I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna load up an Impulse device onto this MIDI track and re-trigger the vocal using little snippets and little snatches of the vocal, but inside Impulse's pads. So again, this is normally used for drums. So we'll put the bass drum into one pad and a snare into another and a hi-hat into another. But I'm just going to take little stretches of this vocal and pick them up, drag them down onto the Impulse track, and actually load a sample straight into Impulse. So let's take the next little word, which is here. Again, pick it up, drag it onto the Impulse track, and then drop it onto the pad in Impulse. This will just take me a few seconds to do. Just pick up all the different bits down onto the Impulse track into a pad. Now I've got nearly there. Two more. And then I'll have the whole vocal in bits inside Impulse. Now for these samples, I'm just going to turn up the decay value for all of them as well. So I'm clicking on each vocal sample there inside Impulse and making sure the decay value is up at maximum, which just means that when I press play on each sample, we get the whole stretch, not just a little tiny snippet. I'm now just going to create a MIDI clip on this MIDI track, highlight the region I want, create, insert MIDI clip. And now I've got an empty MIDI clip now that I can just draw some little patterns into. And of course, for each MIDI note, we're just going to get a different little vocal hit. So let's see how this sounds. I've just done that blindly now. I'm going to just probably move some of these notes around.
Like the rhythm of your drum, like the rhythm of your drum.
So that's in there loosely now. And now I can just play around with the global functions in Impulse.
Like the rhythm of your drum, like the rhythm of your drum.
Let's turn that down a bit.
Like the rhythm of your drum, 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 like the rhythm.
So there I've just extended the note length a little bit inside the clip, and it really comes together when you lay that down with the beat. Now I'm just going to tidy up the timing really and just move a few of these notes around with my arrow keys. So we can get a huge amount of variation there just with muting certain tracks at certain times. We can get variation from the global time value, which just kind of stretches and squashes the length of each sound coming out of Impulse. So anyway, that's got me going on this track, and you can learn loads more cool stuff like this at pointblankonline.net. And yeah, I'll be back another time to show you some cool stuff with Live 8 using sounds and samples and loops from clickproduce.com. Peace.